All right, with crypto moving into 2026, we have a few things we need to address. Number one, we have to look at our wins and losses. Why? We need to reflect, see what we got right, what we got wrong, and what we can do better moving forward. Number two, we have to look at market structure when it comes to long term. We need a long-term analysis so we can be prepared for 2026. And number three, we need to talk about what we're going to be doing, specifically what we're going to be doing on this channel, The Crypto Factor. So in this video, we will look at what we got right, what we got wrong, what the markets look like right now, what they look like long term, what to anticipate, what to watch out for, what's our strategy moving ahead, plus what we'll be doing with the Crypto Factor. So with that said, let's get started. Make sure you pay attention because we are starting right now.
Hey guys, I'm Britta Thans. Remember, Paul is not a financial advisor, but he is good looking. Also, this is not financial advice. Please subscribe down below and check out my channel at Britta Thans.
Hey, how are you? My name is Paul. Happy New Year. If it's your first time here, this channel is all about crypto, all about cryptopreneurship. And in this video, we're going to be looking back. We're going to be looking back, but we're also going to be looking forward. Why? We are going to address what we got right and what we got wrong in this current cycle or in this past cycle and how we can better ourselves moving forward. We're also going to be looking at price and technical analysis right now, but also long term moving into 2026 so we can be prepared. Plus, we're going to be talking about what we'll be doing in the Crypto Factor or on the Crypto Factor YouTube channel. So with that said, I hope you had an amazing year. Hope you had an amazing cycle. And let's get started in what we can do. What are our best wins or losses in this cycle? All right, so what did we get right? We called 15.6K perfectly at the beginning of this cycle. We called this months before. We even won a bet with Gareth Soloway that 15.6K will be the bottom. So we got that right. We got the price right, or the bottom of the market right. We also called the Bitcoin narrative cycle. We said that this cycle will be mostly Bitcoin. And we called that the all-time highs of Bitcoin will be coming in before the halving as well as the dump right after. So we actually called on this channel that before the halving, we will reach all-time highs, plus that Bitcoin will actually get to $100,000 to $140,000 by the end of 2024. We predicted this 2 years ago, which is quite notable if you ask me. When it comes to technical analysis or long-term technical analysis back then, we called the cup and handle formation rally. And let me just show you what that looked like. So this is the Bitcoin chart on the daily, and we basically called this cup and handle formation and the breakout. So we got that perfectly right. Number two, another win was Bitcoin DeFi. We called Bitcoin DeFi, and specifically we called stamps and SRC20 tokens. As a matter of fact, we were one of the first channels, if not the first channel, to talk about how to buy SRC20 tokens and stamps on GitHub, because there was no platforms to buy it. So I was actually showing you how to buy it before it was even worth cents. And those run tremendously. They run tremendously. I made videos about it and the videos with my profits. Unfortunately, I also showed you a mistake in that video I made. So I didn't make millions, which was very, I still can't believe it to this day. I had the potential to make millions. The trade didn't go through, and I actually showed you what went wrong in that trade. But we made significant profits. I would say for some, unreal profits when it comes to, or when it came to SRC20 tokens and stamps. We also were one of the first channels to talk about BRC20 tokens and ordinals taking off, but we were wrong about the Bitcoin continuation. So I actually thought that Bitcoin DeFi will be a thing and we're gonna have another run. So far, we did not get that other run. So we did make a mistake there. We did take profits. We did make a lot of profits, but we could have took a lot more, and we were wrong to stay in certain projects, which ultimately bled over time. So we were wrong about that, but we were mostly right about Bitcoin DeFi and on time, which is important. We got that narrative on time, but we were wrong about the comeback or second wind, at least so far. Another win we got was Solana. We actually called it perfectly at $8.5. Now, if you remember, we actually called Solana in the previous bull market at $2, and we actually took profits right at the top, but kept a bag for this run and added it to it. We added to that bag at $8.5 all the way to $10. Calling for a massive move in Solana. We got that right. That was one of our best plays in this cycle. We also took profits to Bitcoin from Solana end of the year, end of 2024, which was a perfect play because we also got out of altcoins back then. We'll talk about that later, but we actually got this Solana move pretty much perfectly. Now, we did make one mistake on this so far. We did not break all-time highs up to date. So I was calling, and still calling as a matter of fact, for a $500 to $700 Solana if we break all-time highs. We did not break all-time highs. So we got that partly wrong, but still, we have a little bit more time. Maybe not till the end of this year, but don't forget we're talking about the first 3 months in January. We'll talk about that later on in this video, so make sure you stick around for that. That said, we called the 2024 top. We called $100,000 to $140,000 Bitcoin by the end of the year in 2024, and we called the Trump dump and took profits from altcoins into Bitcoin as we expected the dump, and we said that Bitcoin, if anything, will run most in 2025. That was actually a perfect call, and we actually saved a lot of people. Now, that said, we should have took more profits more aggressively, but we did okay. We're not going to get everything perfect, and that is okay, but we actually did exceptionally good. Now, what we got wrong, and this is a bit confusing because I put this card in the wrong place, but we did not break all-time highs up to date. In other words, we called for a double top or breaking all-time highs for Bitcoin at 126,000 in 2025. We were talking about it after the summer. We did not do that yet. We still have some time, not for this year, obviously, so we got that wrong. Let's admit that. But we still have some time or possibility. Again, we'll talk about that after, but we got that wrong, unfortunately. See, we were also calling for a top in 2024 coming into a bear market, but we changed that narrative around October, calling for something that will look like a bear market, and that was the Trump dump. So that part we got right, even though I wrote it over here for context. But again, for this year, we did not break all-time highs up to date. Talking about altcoins, we called for AI. We called AI being the main narrative for this cycle in the previous cycle. If you remember in the previous cycle, I was saying that AI is going to run this cycle and not gaming. Gaming was the last cycle. We got that perfectly right years before it even happened, and that's where we made most profits. We're actually holding AI coins like AI Tech and Fetch before it was even a thing. And yes, we did take profits here. We also called altcoins to run tracking Bitcoin Solana, not Bitcoin Ethereum. So everybody was looking for alt seasons tracking Bitcoin Ethereum. We were tracking Bitcoin Solana. We said it's going to be different this time. And we were talking about mini alt seasons and selective alt seasons later on. So we called mini alt seasons perfectly, including AI, including meme coins, while everybody was still tracking Bitcoin Ethereum, missing those narratives, missing those altcoin pumps. We actually got that exceptionally well. And we also called for rotations from altcoins to Bitcoin end of 2024 before the Trump dump. So we actually took profits here and did very well. Now, what we could have done better here, well, we could have been taking profits a little bit more aggressively. Plus, I was wrong on certain meme coins and late to exit those, but we'll discuss those later. But we could have been a little bit better with taking profits. We should have been a bit more aggressive, taking profits into USDT, not just Bitcoin. Plus, I was expecting the rebound to come a lot faster. It took a little longer for us to rebound. But all in all, we did very well. Another thing we got right was selective altcoins running. We were talking about select altcoins running plus mini alt seasons and selective alt seasons towards the end of the cycle. We got all this right. We called some major plays, but we have not had a selective alt season yet. It's the end of 2025. We didn't have a selective alt season. Let's be honest, I was calling for a selective alt season after the summer. It did not happen. We had signs of it happening. We called the right narratives like privacy and perpetual dexes, but there was no continuation, at least not yet. That was a mistake. Let's see what will happen. Again, we'll talk about long-term technical analysis and the markets in a second, but we got that one wrong, at least so far. All right, here's some generalizations we got right. Our technical analysis in this cycle was on point. We called the bottoms and tops as well as the 100 to 140,000 Bitcoin price this cycle, okay? So we called the bottoms, we called the tops, not perfectly, but good enough, as well as Bitcoin being in the range of 100 to 140,000 dollars. We were saying 100 to 140,000 dollars if that breaks 160,000 dollars as our top call years ago, and we actually stuck to that. We also said to take profits at 120,000 to 130,000. I was saying I was going to be taking profits end of 2024 and in 2025. And we called the temporary bottom call at $74,000, telling you to buy utility coins, not meme coins, when we got there. And we had a great pump since then. So again, if we look at the chart on the factor line here, you will see that we came up here, then came down, we started taking profits, came down all the way to 174,000. We actually called this, and then we had a major pump to all-time highs. We got this over here right. We also got out under 117,000 and called for 80K, and we actually got that incrementally, not in one move, and we did make a few mistakes here, but essentially the bigger move, we actually called it. So what did we get wrong? Well, first of all, we were not aggressive enough taking profits. We exited under $117,000, not $120,000, waiting for that to become support. In other words, when we broke under $120,000, factor line was red, we said we had to take profits. We did not, we hesitated, I'm gonna admit that, and we started exiting under 117,000, 112,000. Then once support broke again under 100K, and we said that's when we called for a low of 80,000 or the low 80s to be precise. Let me not exaggerate my calls here. We got it right, but we could have done it better. We got out incrementally. Some may argue that was the correct move because we could have pumped up, but in hindsight, it was not. Let's admit that so we can address our flaws and do better next time. Let's be more strict with our technical analysis, if that makes sense. Now, what's going on currently? What's going on right now? What did we get right and what are we expecting? Because look, this is an important part of this video because we need to see what we got right because there may be a continuation, but also look at technical analysis right now, what I'm expecting, but also moving forward, okay? So let's do that real quick. All right, so we called $80,000 our temporary bottom. We actually said we're not going to go down to 74,000. We didn't, and we got that right, although the spelling here is completely wrong, okay? We got the spelling wrong because I'm illiterate. Something I need to fix moving into 2026. I need to learn how to spell. We got the perpetual DEX run correct as well as privacy. In other words, when everything was going down, we called Aster at 40 cents. It reached all the way to $2 and we took profits on the way down. Mind you, I should have took more profits. And we got Zcash right at $144. We actually called Zcash $144. Told you to take profits at $600. If that breaks, we may go up to $700, but to make sure to take profits at that point. Then, while we were driving in a Corvette around or close to $600, it was 500 and something, we called to get out and we're gonna get a 50% drop. We got that while I was going through traffic in the Corvette, driving like crazy, and actually getting a few fines with Gecko, the creator of the Factor Line Indicator, and we made the perfect call. That's probably one of my most proud calls in 2025, if you ask me. Because we almost crashed, so we almost died giving you that call. So we called the perpetual DEX run as a narrative, our biggest position being in Aster and also in Hype, since we were already in there, and the privacy run with our biggest position being Zcash at $144, bought the 50% drop, and now we're back up above $500. Plus we called Canton and so on. Now what did we get wrong? The perpetual DEX run was short-lived. Listen, it lasted a lot less than what I expected. I expected the narrative to blow up. We got that wrong. Because we didn't get the selective alt season towards the end of this year, that was wrong until now. That said, we're still in profits. Even if you didn't take profits at $2, you're still in profits because we called it at 44 cents, or Aster at 44 cents. Zcash still up there, and we took most of our altcoins into Zcash when we saw the strength after the 50% drop, and that saved our portfolio. But admittedly, we could have done a lot better. So what are our biggest wins and biggest losses? Look, I want to talk about my biggest wins and biggest losses in this cycle so we can learn from this. Then I want to talk about technical analysis right now. Then I want to talk about technical analysis in 2026, plus what we're going to be doing so we can be prepared. So our biggest wins were our tops and bottom calls. In most part, we did better than every other channel, most professional traders, if not all out there. Yes, I'm going to say that. Yes, you can fact check me. We got this better than anybody out there. Even if the 126,000 top wasn't exact and some people beat us at that, we got everything else. If you balance everything else when it comes to tops, temporary bottoms, we outperformed every single trader out there, YouTuber out there, crypto trader out there that I know of at most parts. So that was a huge, huge win on this channel. We got the AI run correct, not the gaming. We said it's going to be an AI narrative run. That's what we got. We got stamps before it was even a thing. Massive profits, fortunes on stamps. Meme season correct. We even made the meme coin course, and we correctly predicted this and then also predicted the end of this. So we actually got out of memes in times as well. Of course, we held some just in case, but as a macro, we got this right. We talked about mini alt seasons before anybody even knew it was a thing, and still don't even know it was a thing in most part. Plus selective alt seasons. We were the first people, the first channel to call mini alt seasons and call them correctly in time. Plus we coined the term selective alt season. We were the first to talk about selective alt seasons and not alt seasons. Everybody else started doing that after we were the first to actually call this. Our portfolio balance was impeccable. We were in the correct coins, mostly into Bitcoin, some majors, and mostly in the correct narratives. And my favorite or best calls were Bitcoin, Solana, Pepe, which we called it crazy play, Aster coin, just because we're towards bearish territory, and Zcash. I'm most proud of these calls. And yes, there were more, but these are the ones that I'm most proud of as I'm making this video. Now, what about our biggest losses? Because we have to admit our losses here. The DeFi continuation, even though we called stamps and DeFi, the Bitcoin DeFi, the DeFi continuation did not happen. When I say DeFi continuation, I'm talking about Bitcoin DeFi. The AI third wind, we got the AI run and the second wind, we have not got the third wind. We did not see that. Will we see one? Well, if there's a continuation, we will, but we got this one wrong. The selective alt season at the end of the year, we did not get this as of yet. I was expecting this before the end of 2025. We didn't get it. Are we going to get one? We'll see later on, but we did not get one, so we were wrong. We did not get the final selective alt season, the full-blown one. We were talking about a full-blown alt season, but it's going to be selective. We didn't get either. We got nothing, right? So that was wrong. Gaming RWA and DPEN, I said it was going to run towards the end of the cycle. If the cycle is over, let's see. We did not see this run, at least not in 2025. Will we see it beginning 2026? That's remained to be seen. We'll talk about it in a bit, as I said, but we did not get this right as of yet. Plus, my biggest losses, Agent S, completely stupid. We got in early, made massive profits. And I didn't take profits. It was just stupid of me. I got greedy. I admit it. I was a muppet there, and that just rug pulled and it went to crap. It was because it was part of my AI meme play in the AI agents narrative. Completely wrong. I should have took profits. I was an idiot. It was wrong. Vapor on Hype became Vaporware. I was actually planning on it because Vapor was kind of like the, let's say, the virtual coin on virtuals. This was on Hype. It did not work out. It was a narrative play, but I played it too strongly. And even though we saw some initial profits, it dumped to shit. So completely wrecked on that. Those were my two biggest losses, I believe, in this run. Bitcoin DeFi, we got the continuation wrong, so a lot of what we were holding went to shit, and SUI agents just went to shit. I was calling for a SUI agent run, that completely went to shit, so a lot of these SUI agents went basically went into zero. Now, at this point, I also want to ask you a question, which is very important, plus I'm going to make a confession. So, number one, or this is for you. If I have missed any wins or mistakes, please comment down below. Be as brutal as you can. I want to hear feedback. I want to see what I got wrong and what I got right. Now, if you say I got something wrong, which I didn't, or I have my own opinion, I will comment, I will reply to that. So make sure you read the comments, but I'm gonna be very, very honest, disgustingly honest and transparent and admit my mistakes and admit my flaws because I want to become better in 2026 and I suggest you do the same. The second thing I wanna talk about, I didn't put a card for this and I wanna talk about it real quick, is I made a huge mistake and I lost a lot of money getting liquidated because even though I was taking profits under 117,000, I left my trades open for Monday because it was my birthday as well. And I left my trades open when it came to leverage. Even my 2x and 3x leverages got liquidated because of that massive flush. Now, you might say, Paul, you didn't predict the massive flush, you just predicted that we're gonna go down. Yes, and that massive flush caught me off guard as well. Bots got liquidated, trading bots and so on. My leverage positions got liquidated, and then I revenge traded. I revenge traded on leverage and lost a shitload of profits. I lost a lot of money in crypto. Of course, I made more profits overall, obviously, but I did something I did not know how to do. I'm not a day trader. And I revenge traded. Remember, I'm a swing trader and long-term investor. I'm good at macros. I take long positions for a long period of time. I can day trade, but I'm not the best at it. There's better day traders out there. But I day traded with emotion and revenge traded. That's when you just take positions without even looking properly. Even though I was basically gambling. And why am I saying this? Because we're all human, and you see me in these videos talk about emotions and positions and technical analysis, and I get all these things right, especially when it comes to swing trading. Understand that we're all human, we're all gonna make mistakes, and I made a massive mistake. I wanna admit that because I don't wanna make the same mistake moving into 2026. Of course, as soon as I lost that capital, it was about 20, 30K in total, which is a lot because at 20, 30K, it was my trading account. So I was growing it, and I could grow it a lot more because I would also use it to short, also to use to buy. So that's gone. And so that could cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars, even though I only lost 20, 30,000. Big mistake, and I'm paying for it, and I will pay for it, and I suggest you admit your mistakes too. So full transparency, full honesty, just so you don't think I am God, even though I look like one. Maybe Buddha, but you understand what I mean. We have to admit our flaws and mistakes. Now, before we get into technical analysis right now and long-term technical analysis and strategy, what are my biggest wins in 2025, since it's the end of the year? As a matter of fact, in a few hours, it's going to be 2026. First of all, my health. I have to say that my health is a lot better. For those of you that know, I'm a 3-time cancer survivor. I fought cancer 3 times since 2015, 2 bone marrow transplants, and I got out of hospital the last time after CAR T therapy and a bone marrow transplant end of 2022. 2023 was hard, 2024 was hard, 2025 I picked myself up, I started going back to gym, I'm doing Muay Thai, I finally got my diet right because I kind of like left everything. It was very hard to jump back on track. I took testosterone replacement therapy, which helped a lot. It was very hard. My biggest win is my health. Thank God I'm still alive because the type of cancer I have is very rare, very hard to beat. And for those of you that are in my journey, you've seen me in hospital calling the bottom, calling you to get in, losing my memory and fighting and recreating myself from zero. That was one of my proudest moments, is beating that. Also, starting over. When I got out of hospital at the end of 2022, it was 2 days before Christmas, I had nothing. I had $20,000 in crypto, even less, which I knew that if I spent, I wouldn't be able to trade my way up. And I literally borrowed money. I borrowed money and recreated myself from scratch. BitBoy Crypto, all of you wondering why I supported him. When I say supported him is, I supported him and I gave him the benefit of the doubt, is because he was one of the only people that sent me money. He sent me $1,500, didn't even know me. And he lost all his money in Celsius. I didn't know what was going on with the company back then, but he sent me $1,500, told me to keep it, I don't have to give it back. And also other people helped me as well. A lot of them don't want to be named, but I actually borrowed, I think about $10,000, $15,000. That paid for some bills, helped my girlfriend because I was in hospital for 44 days. My house they were trying to repossess my apartment. There was so much shit going on. And I used that so I can keep the crypto, so I can trade my way up, and that's what I did. And one of the hardest things I went through, was losing my parents. I lost my sister, my mother, and father while I was fighting cancer. So that was extremely hard, but I kept going, and I have to say I'm proud, and my parents will be proud, and I know they're looking at me from up there. And that was a proud moment. And the message of this is never give up. Like when you're walking through hell, you have to keep walking, And a lot of people say, oh, there's never give up, and all this, success mindset. And I had a success mindset channel before, and it's very different when walking the walk and trying to do what's right and fighting. Anyway, 2023, I created the online coaching, my one-on-one coachings, the VIP factor, and my course. It's all in the description down below. But that was one of my biggest wins, or my biggest win was my health. Creating the factor line and course, this is probably the best product I created. Like the factor line and course, the Invest, Trade, and Think Like the Crypto Factor course is probably the best course you will ever see out there. It's linked in the description down below. I'll leave a QR code up here as well. And check it out. People are swearing by it. It teaches you how to invest like me, trade like me, and think like me. When I say trading, I mean swing trading. Teaches you technical analysis, teaches you things that other people don't teach you. Make sure you watch that video. It goes into candlesticks. It will blow your mind. Plus, you get to see the factor line, what I've been using for TA. I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm not going to show you the factor line or try and sell it here or actually review it or anything like that. You've seen it, you've seen me use it. Check out the site, read it, and see if it's for you. That's all I ask. But the product is my favorite product I have ever created. I achieved my keynote speaker goal. I've been keynote speaking at different events worldwide. This was huge. And we started Digifire Marketing with Luai, my partner Luai, in Dubai. And that's going to be doing marketing for cryptocurrency companies. I used to be in marketing and sales for over 25 years in consumer psychology. I used to advise marketing for companies before I got sick. Now we created the company to become consulting, to do consulting for these companies. Plus, we're going to do more things within that company. So those are my biggest wins for 2025. And for 2026, I have a top expectation. I'm watching a range. I'm going to show you exactly what that is in just 1 second. Then I'm going to be watching for a continuation. It's not a bear market yet. We'll talk about that in a second as well. Plus, factor line automation is coming. Plus, we're going to have new projects, and this channel is going to focus mostly on technical analysis, or focus as well on technical analysis, how to build portfolios, and how to help you. Because I noticed something. I noticed something that's extremely important, and I heard you. I heard your voice. Let me show you what I mean. If you go to my channel, The Crypto Factor, and go to posts, some people may see this as community, and scroll down, you will see a poll that I made. What type of crypto content would help you most going into 2026? And 66% of you answered portfolio building, TA, and real strategies to make money. And this is initially what I wanted to do on this channel, what I was doing on this channel. So we'll still do some coin reviews, we'll still do some sponsored content, but I want to focus mostly on this: portfolio building, technical analysis, real strategies, and more live streams, okay? That's what I'm going to be doing moving forward. Now, with that said, if you haven't liked this video so far, please give this video a like. I would really appreciate that. And if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. Now let's look at technical analysis, current and long term for 2026. So looking at Bitcoin on the daily here, you can see we are playing around in this bottom range that the factor line actually called for you here. So the low is 80,000, the top is 107. We need to break that for continuation or a double top potential. But as you can see, we're trading in this lower range on the daily. And just to make things clear, this bottom right here, this yellow line, let's make this a red line. I'll tell you why I'm making it red in just 1 second. But this red line right here, look, this is 74,000. This is the bottom we actually called the temporary bottom before the run. This is the temporary bottom, and as you can see, if I stretch it out, it aligns with previous resistance over here. We broke out when we broke above this previous resistance. This is an extra indicator here. I'll tell you what it is in just 1 second. But this red line, unless this red line breaks, anything higher, even what we are at now, is just another higher low. So right now, right here, we are not in a bear market. We're not in a bear market yet because we have not broken structure. Structure breaks under 74,000. If that becomes resistance, it breaks and it becomes resistance, we can talk about bear market potential. But right now, we're not in the bear market. Bitcoin is known to drop 30, 40, even 50% in bull markets. Now granted, if we go by the 4-year cycle, we are coming to the end of this cycle. The top is in end of 2025, beginning 2026. We talked about that, and we don't have a lot of time left. We didn't have a Santa rally. By the way, another mistake. We didn't get the Santa rally. But we still have time. Now, am I saying to go all in here? Am I saying this is definite? No. I'm just looking at the chart right now. And right now, if we don't break under 74,000, you cannot call this a bear market because structure did not break. This is technical, this is principle, this is law. This is not me saying it, this is TA. Anybody that says otherwise really, really needs to reevaluate their TA, especially when it comes to crypto. Because they're either going by a 20-24% drop, which constitutes a bear market in TradFi, and even that can be debated because I don't subscribe to that, but also they don't realize that structure hasn't broken. They're just looking at certain patterns or certain indicators and not the whole picture, if that makes sense. Now, if we do break under 80,000, then a retest of this line is likely, and let's see if that holds because it's very important. Now, we are also waiting for us to come back up, in my opinion, and form a top formation. Because in my opinion, we have not formed a top formation. And what I'm expecting is for us to come up to this top of the range before we go down. This is what I'm looking at. Now, this might happen around here. This might happen around here. It doesn't matter, but this is what I'm expecting as a topping formation. That will give us an amazing, clean head and shoulder pattern. And yes, that is a topping formation if that happens. But we have to wait for this because there's always the chance of a double top or even a continuation to the upside for an extended cycle. Now, do I believe we're going to have an extended cycle? I've said time and time over again, I don't know. I do not care. I'm going by the 4-year cycle until proven otherwise. Okay? So I'm looking for a topping formation, but we still have another one, in my opinion, to that point. Probability-wise, keep that in mind, probability-wise, and if that happens, we may see that selective alt season, because altcoins are just waiting for permission to run. If you look at altcoins here, if you look at our picks over here, look, there's some green on the day, and we see this constantly, and yes, there's a lot of red, but our picks are really good. Look at the weekly. They're waiting for permission from Bitcoin. I was saying this when we were in the red as well. They're just waiting for permission to Bitcoin. Look at our other picks. Look at Copia. Oh my God, what is this? This is insane. I don't know what's going on. I actually hold cornucopias. I don't know why and what's going on here. I really don't. But regardless, we are seeing, especially when it comes to our alt season picks, we are seeing some moves. So we are waiting for Bitcoin. We are waiting for permission. So what is this showing us long term? Look, we need to wait for the break of the range. I'll be making more videos, live streams on this, but we need to wait for this break of range to understand which direction we're going to go and evaluate how aggressively we're going to do that. So right now, these are your hands. You're sitting on them. You're sitting on them. As long as you protected yourself, you're doing nothing until we break the range. I made multiple videos talking about this, multiple videos explaining this. I will make more videos coming into 2026 and beyond. We will be doing calls, TA, and so on. So make sure you subscribe. We will be doing live streams as well. Subscribe down below and hit that bell notification button if you don't want to miss those videos, because I'm going to be more active when it makes sense. Not more active doing TA daily just because everyone else is, just to get views. No, when it makes sense. So make sure you watch and follow this channel. That said, like this video, hype this video. If you see the new hype button, please hit that hype button. And if you want to learn, first of all, check out my links in the description down below. So many calls to actions. What am I doing? Anyway, regardless, if you want to get the advantage in 2026, if you want to start profiting in 2026, make sure you watch this webinar right here. Free webinar on candlesticks. I guarantee it will up your game. No email requirements, no signups, none of that crap. Completely free, not selling you anything at the end. Watch this video, the most important video you will watch in 2026, and I will see you in that video.